Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to this episode of Healing Your Codependency and the Indomitable Worth series. Today we're going to be jumping into a concept called transactional value. The title of today's episode, Are You Suffering from Transactional Worth, Transactional Value? So we're going to be jumping into that today. Excited to have you here to help you discover, experience, embody, and then live or express from your indomitable worth. Because this is one of the three core components to really being free from codependency. Because codependency has the need, it's the means to meeting the three necessities that we have, which are safety, connection, and having a sense of value identity, meaning purpose and value in who we are and in the world. So indomitable worth is the deep dive into that third component of value identity. So before we get this started today, I'm going to share this out to the community, the Indomitable Worth community, and the Heal Yourself or the Heal Your Codependency communities. Those links above, on Facebook, below, on YouTube. Come and join us. The reason I have two groups is because Indomitable Worth is an advanced concept in our healing. And if you find yourself going, wow, this is big, I may not be ready for this, then the Heal Your Codependency group is where you can find additional support in nurturing safety in your life, connection in your life, and taking your first steps in discovering who you are beyond codependency. So check those out in the links above. And let's go here to the Facebook, moving things around. All right. So I'm excited to have you guys here. Let me know how you're doing in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on today's episode there. And then if you're watching via YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and hit that like button. Thank you guys again for promoting my work and being a part of my journey and expressing my own indomitable worth, what brings me joy in my life. All right, enough about that. So most of us have grown up in an experience akin to this. We are given attention when we please someone. We're given praise when we do something someone likes. But yet when we don't, we do something we like, we share something that matters to us, we get criticism, we get silence, we get indifference to it. These kinds of things, this kind of pattern in our world, converts us to believing a concept I call transactional worth or transactional value. I use those terms interchangeably. They're the same thing. What's transactional value? Transactional worth? It's the idea that our intrinsic worth, our worth as a person, is contingent or dependent on something else. So our value is tethered to conditions. If I do this, then I'm lovable. If I have this, then I'm worthy. If they like me, I'm a likable person. If they don't, then I am not. It's that kind of if then, when then kind of statement that puts us into a transactional value experience. Our cultures are largely transactional value. We are valued for what we do and valued for what we create, right? It's this output-oriented relationship with ourselves that teaches us to believe that our value is externally dependent and is determined by the approval and satisfaction, disappointment, rejection other people give us. Our value is determined by the success we have, the failures we have, the outputs we create. So if you're a perfectionist, you're a people pleaser, if you're a person who is a high achiever, someone you are like, I need to earn my worth, I need to prove I'm worthy, you chase love, you chase value by trying to get people to see you, like you, try to please them, try to be perfect for them, you've been highly immersed in the transactional value paradigm. And if we've grown up in narcissistic systems, that entire system is transactional. And it's a one-way transaction. Hey, you owe me a cookie, give it to me or else. I'm going to take away my love. I'm going to take away my approval. I'm going to take away my presence from you. I'm going to take away my warmth. I'm going to go choose someone else. No wonder we're paralyzed and scared of rejection, of difference, and we're even scared of approval. Like when I was in the deep throes of my own trauma from narcissistic abuse, approval paralyzed me more than rejection because I knew it could be taken away. And if I believed it and I clutched onto it and then they took it away, it would be devastating. It would crush me. It crushed my sense of value. It would just hollow me out. This is the toxicity of transactional value. Now, transactional value has a purpose. It has a utility that is good in our world, and that is a means to negotiating exchange. ABC for my time. Here's $1 for a donut. That's where it's useful. It's also useful for creating specific kinds of agreements for exchange between, your time and value, or your time, your skills, your energy, in return for dollar bills that you do those things for someone else, like a job, basically. We all have transactional experiences. I pay X for Y. So it has its place, but it is completely inappropriate and becomes highly toxic when this is applied to a person, when it's applied to our personal worth. So transactional value brings suffering into our world. This is where we learn to feel shame about ourselves. This is where the experience of being inadequate or being too much, too little, is gleaned. It's where it's created, because we're experiencing some sort of transactional experience in relationship to someone else. This traps us in the lie that our value is conditional, that our value has dependencies, that it depends on something else. It also gets us into this habit of becoming what's called externally oriented. I'm seeking value through things outside of myself. I've made that person, place, or thing the authority over my worth. Now I'm going to chase it and try to get it to love and like me so I can have value, so I can feel it. In a lot of ways, what's happened here is transactional value has programmed us to think that we can only feel value when certain conditions exist, and that value is removed when other conditions exist. So now that's kind of a repeat of what I said a few moments ago, but take that in for a second. Let that land. Because if you're operating in that realm, what this means is that you have gone through experiences that have taught you to believe that your value is conditional, limited, and dependent on other factors. See, what's really going on is we've gone through transactional love in our primary relationships with our culture, with our peers, with our parents maybe, with loved ones, with romantic partners, with our jobs. We've even become transactional with ourselves. Hey, I will only love me if. I will only love me when. We do that a lot in our healing. I'm only going to love me when I am healed. I'm only healed when X stops this or Y starts happening, right? We're attaching these if-then, when-then conditions to our value, to our healing, to our power, to our safety. And this creates this creates pain. This creates suffering. We become lost to ourselves because we're always chasing something and trying to control something outside of ourselves. So what's the solution here? How do we move through this to something reliable, something concrete, something that we can feel safe accessing, something that we can reliably count on, something that is ever present with us? This is what I call indomitable worth. How do we move towards that concept? First, and this is the work we do in the indomitable worth method, because there's 4 steps to it. We got to start with possibility and discovery. Then we move into step 2, which is experience, step 3, which is embody, and step 4, which is express. Right now, we're all focusing on possibility. Is it even possible that I do have this intrinsic indomitable worth? My argument's obviously going to be yes, because I'm kind of biased here, right? It's my video, it's what I'm doing, right? So in this possibility, what we start doing is we look at our transactional value experiences, like I'm only worthy when, I'm only lovable if. When we see those kinds of equations in our thinking, all we do is we slow down and we acknowledge them. Well, yeah, I believe that I'm only lovable when someone loves me. And then we legitimize the belief, but in a very in a weird way. I'm just going to make it a weird way. It's a cool way, because what this does is it changes our relationship to the belief. So what happens here is, well, first of all, what legitimization means is I make it real and valid to myself. So in this model of shifting a belief about ourselves, our transactional value belief, we acknowledge it and we legitimize it. But we do it this way. Of course, I believe my value is contingent or dependent on this other person's approval. This is how I've been raised to believe my value is determined. See, we are legitimizing your experience, the entire context of your experience with your value. And what this starts to do is it starts to separate your sense of self from the experience you had that defined the sense of worth you currently have. That's crucial, because this is beginning a practice called disidentification, or a shift or an outcome called disidentification. What that really means is, oh, I went through something that taught me to feel shame about myself. Maybe I'm not the shame. With that possibility coming into your awareness, we can now open up to, what if I am intrinsically worthy and whole despite the feeling of shame I might have right now, despite the outcomes that happen. See, it's a question we start to explore, because what this does is it opens up possibility for us. And through possibility, we might just start to discover that, I am feeling a change there. That does feel better. My body relaxes. My mind relaxes. I like this. It may not last very long. It may last for like 2 minutes. It may last for 10 minutes. It doesn't matter, because that's really an awareness issue. But the fact is, you touched it. You felt it. This is your first step out of transactional value and into being oriented to your real worth. That indomitable value that is limitless, that is infinite, and that is fully autonomous. It has no dependencies on other people. It has no dependencies on you. It doesn't rely on outcomes. It doesn't rely on situations and environments and experiences. It's always been there, because it's part of what makes us us. We are made of this. At least that's how I see it in my work here. So if you're suffering from transactional value, it's because you've been taught to believe that your value, your worth, is contingent or dependent on something else. It is limited. It is it's entwined or enmeshed with approval, with rejection, those kinds of things. The step out of this is to first start to open up to that possibility that maybe you have worth that has full autonomy, that doesn't depend on anyone else, and it's fully yours to access. That step will lead you to the rest of the work, which is, can I experience this, learn how to embody it, and then learn how to express my life through it. And that's what we do here. That's what I'm doing here in this work with Indomitable Worth. So in just 3.5 weeks, November 16th is the first training in the Indomitable Worth method. It's discussing possibility and discovery, and what I'm going to be doing is training you deeply on why you believe you have transactional worth, and then how to break out of that cycle by connecting with and experiencing or discovering your intrinsic indomitable worth. I'm going to be giving you the first practices that make that happen. And then you're going to get your invitation to jump into your first intensive, which will be happening in January. We've got a series of prep trainings we're going to be doing before that, so you're ready for that. Link is above on Facebook, below on YouTube, and on my website at freetheself.com. Come join us. It's $25. I'll be teaching it on that Wednesday, November 16th at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. So you can attend both, and start your journey into actually experiencing and then embodying and living from your indomitable worth. So now you don't have to deal with the pain of shame and inadequacy and insecurity. Instead, you get to respond to life from a place of deep security where, like, I have value, so this situation, what does it look like now? Like rejection, if I had an infinite worth, what does rejection look like now? What does loneliness look like now? What does failure look like now? What does success look like? We can go even deeper, which we will in the Indomitable Worth Society. What do my wants look like when I am not seeking my value or I'm not chasing it through the things I'm trying to accomplish? We go real deep on this because this will change your world. It's changed mine. It's changed other students' lives in a way that's like, I'm doing things in a way that I enjoy that are not, I don't walk with a fear of like, well, what do people think about that? Oh, Marshall's doing it this way. We're going to get criticism. But when we're anchored into our indomitable worth, criticism, rejection, people just not liking us, and our desire to go out and do things becomes very different. Like the negative things are like, oh yeah, that's what they want to be. Cool. That's how it works for them. Great. It's not personal anymore. Instead, it's a director. Like rejection directs us towards more compatible, fulfilling experiences in our life. Criticism tells us this person's got pain going on, and maybe we're just not compatible in this area. That kind of thing. And then success and failure educate us in how to grow and expand our skills and our power. But we're not sitting here wrestling with the big question, am I worthy? Do I deserve this? Is this something that I should have? No. Instead, we're actually like, I deserve this. This is something that's good for me because it resonates with our value. It resonates with our well-being. That's magic there. This is where life gets a lot simpler. So big deep dive there for a moment. But this is why I am doing the Indomitable Worth work and offering this to you guys so you can start to discover your world beyond shame, beyond transactional value and worth, beyond inadequacy, and move beyond the internalized sense of I have to earn my value. Instead, you get to live from I am my value. What do I want to create and contribute to the world today? So that's our magic there. Thank you guys for being here with today's episode. And let me know your thoughts about it below because my mind's kind of like, well, that was impromptu because we kind of like ran on some rabbit trails and stuff. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you're doing out there. I will see you guys next week for additional trainings in this. I'm excited to see how this changes your world as you come into contact with your indomitable worth. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.